I call the member for Ryde.
Thank you, Speaker. Before my time in this place, there was a major overhaul of one of Ryde's largest social and affordable housing precincts, the Ivanhoe Estate in Macquarie Park. It was home to a community of wonderful people, but in less than wonderful surroundings. The buildings were old, run down, and in desperate need of renewal. We all believe in empowering people with the stability and pride that comes from having a home of their own. But we also know that home ownership isn't possible for everyone all the time. Fast forward to today, and the former Ivanhoe Estate has been transformed into Midtown, one of the largest public housing redevelopments anywhere in New South Wales. In making the difficult decision to relocate former residents, new opportunities have been created to house even more people many times over within our diverse and supportive Ryde community. However, what should have been a project to improve lives is for some devolving into disappointment. These challenges have largely emerged in the last year, and I believe that by tackling them now, we can prevent the compounding of problems for current and future tenants. My office has met, and I have met with residents both individually and in groups to understand their concerns. Together, we've conducted a survey and petition calling for better management of maintenance claims, rental disputes, building defects, and clearer, more compassionate communication. We have called out the disgrace of embedded energy networks, especially in social and affordable housing, and we've tried to give a voice to the many individual complaints that have emerged from within Midtown. The purpose of this speech is to once again place on record these challenges in the hope that the government takes a closer, more forensic look at what is happening in my community. Standard responses, form letters, and political point scoring will no longer cut it for residents who are genuinely struggling. Almost daily, I hear from tenants who have received unexplained rent increases in the middle of a housing crisis. That's bad enough when it comes from a private landlord, but it's particularly unsettling when it comes from the government. Mission Australia, who manage Midtown, have rightly explained that rents are reviewed regularly and that tenants who don't opt into automatic deductions through centre pay may fall behind. This may be technically accurate, but accuracy alone is not good enough. Many residents are facing financial hardship, mental health challenges, have experienced trauma, or simply don't have the financial literacy to navigate the complexity of their leases. These are precisely the people who need a system that supports, not confuses them. I'm calling on the government to work with interested MPs, residents, the sector, and providers on a more transparent and streamlined approach to rental payments. If Commonwealth rent assistance is explicitly intended to cover rent, why not create a process where payments transfer directly to the provider? This would remove confusion, reduce administrative costs, and prevent residents from falling into arrears through no fault of their own. Turning to maintenance and building defects, I've spoken many times in this House about the unacceptable state of building defects in strata housing. When tenants are involved, and when those tenants are in social or affordable housing, the consequences are multiplied. Residents need a single source of truth. What can and can't they control, and who is responsible for what? Is it the provider, the builder, or somebody else entirely? And if they can't get answers from the provider, where can they turn? As the MP for Ryde, I will always help, but it shouldn't take the intervention of an MP to troubleshoot what should be people-oriented government services. None of this is clear, and I'm not convinced that the government yet fully understands the scale of the problem. I was struck to an answer to a question I asked the Minister in Parliament revealing that compliance assessments for some housing providers occur only every 2 years. While Mission Australia is assessed annually, many Midtown residents have lived there less than a year. This means the next assessment and any meaningful change that follows will dwarf their time living in Midtown. Some maintenance issues are small, mould, peeling, plaster and broken fittings, but they're still unacceptable when they drag on, and larger defects must be dealt with far more urgently. The government wants to solve Sydney's housing crisis through more Midtowns, but that strategy will fail if the apartments being built aren't of high quality. Otherwise, it's taxpayers who will foot the bill and residents who will pay the price. Finally, I want to speak about the human side of this issue, the relationships between tenants and providers. These relationships can make or break whether someone is able to live a stable and fulfilling life in their home. I've heard too many stories of breakdowns in communication and trust at Midtown. I don't know every detail of every complaint, but I would bet that many staff are doing their best in an impossible system and are bearing the brunt of residents' legitimate frustration. That's why I'm raising this in Parliament today. The system needs close inspection and genuine reform, not to apportion blame, but to protect staff, identify where management is legitimately failing, and most importantly, support vulnerable people who just want to live their lives with dignity. People like my constituents in Midtown, people who I will continue to defend and support for as long as I'm their local MP.